On tonight's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night, Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, top two picks do battle. They both showed out. We're going to talk about it right now.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
Hey, what's up, guys? You are locked on to NBA Game Night, every game, every night, special Summer League edition. My name is Gavin Schall. I'm the co-host of the Locked On Knicks podcast. He is Nick Angstadt, your typical Monday host, but tonight filling in for Rylan Stiles, D&P, internet issues, host Locked On Mavs as well, manager of the Locked On NBA channel, bunch of places you can find him. Nick, how's Vegas been treating you? Hanging out with a couple of your sons there in Las Vegas.
I'm hanging with Yang right now. Hansen Yang playing with the Blazers right now, and it's been awesome. You never know who you're going to see. I was sitting 2 feet behind Allen Iverson today. I met Jason Sudeikis today. It was an incredible – LeBron James came in. It was an incredible day.
Jason Sudeikis, sneaky good basketball player, was really, really talented in college, but that is not what we are focused on today. We are talking about – Cooper. Okay, well, we'll get to that third segment. Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper do battle, both of them showing out. Carter Bryant having his moments in that game. We'll get to Lakers Pelicans, the latest on Derik and Jeremiah Fears. They're going to play big roles for the Pels next year. We will talk about Hansen Yang. That's really fun.
This entire room did not think he fouled just now.
Oh, Jesus. All right. We're going to get into him, and we're going to do some buy or sell to wrap up this show. But, Nick, we have to start with your Mavericks. Cooper Flagg bouncing back in a big way. 31 points performance. What did you make of his game today?
The thing about Cooper Flagg this year is that, especially in Summer League, is that they're trying to put him in a place that makes him uncomfortable. He is not the guy, let's say like a certain Slovenian, that is going to handle the ball, take 20 shots every game, get you 30 points every single game. That is not his game. Like that, he is not the pick and roll maestro every single time down the floor, bring the ball up type guy. He is a connector. He can do a whole lot of different things. And that's what you want Cooper Flagg to do, is to be able to roam and to be able to work off of an advantage and all that. They are putting him in the handle the ball category right now. They're pushing him to do that. Cooper Flagg even said after the game, they want me to be aggressive. Like that is on purpose. And so for him to take 21 shots in his first game, he said that's the most shots he thinks he's ever taken. I think he had 22 one time at Duke. And then to take 20 shots this game, you saw the aggressiveness, and you saw the types of shots he can get off in the first game and in this one. In this one, he ended up hitting more, 10 of 20 from the field, ended up getting those 30 points, like you said. And he got to the line a lot, too. 13 free throws he took, hit 8 of them. He said his mom would be very disappointed in him that he missed all those free throws. But it was great to see Cooper Flagg get his game going a little bit when his jumper was not necessarily falling in the first game. And then to respond by not being timid and to not back off and say, all right, well, just because I didn't shoot well the first game, all right, now I'm going to just defer to everybody else. He went out and did what the coaching staff is telling him to do because they're doing it on purpose. They want him to eventually grow into that role where he can handle the ball a lot, where he can go get his own shot. That's what takes you from a normal starter player or all-star level player to an all-NBA MVP level player, which is eventually what 18-year-old Cooper Flagg is going to turn into eventually when he hits his prime. He's 2.5 years younger than everybody on the Mavs Summer League roster. Actually 3 years, because Melvin Agenta has not played. He's 3 years younger than everybody that's played on the Mavs Summer League team. There is so much runway ahead for him, and this is just the start of it to get him comfortable in that position.
Yeah, I thought he was awesome. And you just see the kind of competitor he is. Carter Bryant absolutely had him in jail early in this game. Mavs make an adjustment, move him off the ball, and he immediately looked a lot more comfortable. It's that balance in Summer League, right, to your point, trying to challenge a guy, trying to force them to expand their game, put them in uncomfortable positions, and also wanting them to have good moments, wanting them to build that confidence, wanting to reward the fans that come out to see him. And he really got into a great rhythm. I know Tim Legler on, I think it's the All-NBA podcast, questioned his jumper and how the ball comes off his hands, which I think is probably the core concern about him at the NBA level, just because he is so incredibly league ready and well-rounded. And I thought after a cold start shooting the ball, like some of the shots he had down the stretch just looked exceptionally smooth, had that top of the key, catch, instant release jumper, had another one off one dribble, right off his fingertips, perfect rhythm. And then down the stretch of this game, there was just a little bit of an FU there. And you hear him in interviews, and he's like very soft-spoken. He's a very nice young man. I feel like it's appropriate to say when he's just turned 18 years old. And yet, like, he is a killer. Like, coming down the lane, you saw he wanted to catch a body multiple times, like cocking it back, going for big dunks. Did have like a sick alley-oop in transition. Like, at some point, he's really going to embarrass someone. But I like that competitive spirit in a game where he was presumably frustrated because he didn't really get the support he got in that Lakers game. At one point, he, like, midway through the fourth quarter, nearly half of Dallas's points. He was essentially the entire team. Before moving on to Dylan Harper, I wanted to ask you about your confidence in his jumper, because to me, that is maybe the swing skill on the entire Mavs team next year. If they're going to play big with Lively or Gafford at the 5, AD at the 4, like, he's going to have to be a reliable NBA three-point shooter from day one, and I think he'll be solid. But to me, that could swing just how competitive the Mavs might be if and when Kyrie Irving comes back late in the season.
Yeah, that's a high-level swing skill for sure for him, and it was before the draft. People were saying, before his season at Duke, they were saying, all right, if he can hit a jumper and he can hit, shoot the three, then it's lights out. He's definitely the number one guy. But that was a question coming into Duke, and he wasn't. Like, definitely, there was talk that maybe there could be a conversation about Cooper Flagg. Then he shot 38% from three in college, 44% during conference play, and you go, all right, he's definitely the number one guy. No worries. I think the thing about Cooper Flagg is he's going to keep working on it. His shot does look a little slow. Isaac, my co-host, talked about a little bit about like his elbow and like where it sticks out sometimes, the inconsistency there for him. An 18-year-old being inconsistent. I mean, gosh, like who would think? But I think that is the thing that is going to take him to that next level, especially since they're playing him a little out of position to start. Like, they may slide him down to the wing, or even Jason Kidd has mentioned playing him at the 2, playing him as a point guard. Like, Jason Kidd has specifically mentioned those things for him, and so yeah, like that's the thing that's really gonna. And then his ball handling. He talked about how Carter Bryant picked him up 94 feet basically the whole game, and he said, I was exhausted. He said, Carter Bryant, it was awesome to see him like not be tired at the end of the game, but I was exhausted. I being Cooper Flagg. And I thought that was interesting to admit, and that's definitely something that he'll work on too. But there's a lot of fatigue in bringing the ball up like as much as he did.
All right, let's get to the other end of that star matchup. Dylan Harper. Yeah, exactly. I thought a much more understated game from Dylan Harper. Obviously, this was his debut. Did not play in the Utah Summer League that they participated in. What I really appreciated from Harper was, I think, a recognition of that and a recognition that he was working his way back. And even though he ends up getting up 12 shots and 7 free throws, and clearly he was involved, like, really did not force the issue at any point and was very comfortable off the ball. His first basket came on just like great recognition that his defender was ball watching, back cut in for this swooping layup. I thought the defense was excellent for him. Like, he, like, right where Carter Bryant left off, like, he was picking up 94 feet, met Ryan Nembhard at the rim at one point for just a nasty swat. You see just how explosive he is in transition. You combine that with, like, I know some of the athletic testing on him like indicates is like 99th percentile James Harden style deceleration. Like, I think there is a lot to be excited about. Some good pick and roll reads. Really, really solid debut, I thought, for Dylan Harper.
Yeah, Dylan Harper showed a lot of things. He was on a minutes restriction, so he wasn't going to play a lot. But in the time that he did play, he showed so much. And he is just an athlete, like you said. You just saw some incredible plays, finishes, blocks at the rim, steals, just stuff where you just feel so annoyed that he's going to be on the Spurs. And then Carter Bryant, too, like who I want to talk about a little later, that both of those guys are going to be added to a core of Wembanyama, plus Stephon Castle, plus Devin Vassell, plus De'Aaron Fox. Like, it is just a glut of riches over there for the Spurs, because Dylan Harper's going to be really good. And sometimes you can just tell when an athlete looks head and shoulders above everybody else on the floor. And if you do that in a summer league context, that's like, middle to like fringe NBA level. Like, there's definitely some NBA athletes and definitely some that aren't. And so that's just the next step. And I'm curious to see him in an NBA context, whether he looks as athletic as he did today. Because, man, he just looked dominant. And then, he was guarding Ryan Nembhard. And Ryan Nembhard is 5'11", without shoes at the combine. And that's one of the reasons why he went undrafted. He had a really good game in game 1. And this game, he got completely shut out. And it was because Dylan Harper is 6'6", good size for a guard, and was just stuck with him and didn't fall for any of like his shifty moves, or navigated screens well and did all that kind of stuff. And like Dylan Harper, he really impressed me today. Number 2 pick.
Right, let's hit on that other guy you wanted to talk about, Carter Bryant. I saw Kendrick Perkins tweet, but I think it was after game 1, and he compared Carter Bryant to OG Anunoby, and I immediately got angry just because I don't really trust Kendrick Perkins' takes.
I got angry when you said Kendrick
fair.
Perkins.
He's sorry, Kendrick. And I don't want to get the Bill Simmons treatment from him. But OG Anunoby, obviously just a generational defender. And then I watched this game. I'm like, all right, I don't think he has any idea what he's doing offensively. I don't know if I buy the shot. Like you go back to high school, it's not very good for him. And yet defensively, like that might be the trajectory. Like I cannot remember a wing Nick looking this dominant on the defensive end of the floor, like Carter Bryant. And you throw in just some of like the freaky athletic stuff he did. I'll let you get into it.
That's the thing about summer leagues. You're just trying to find out whose skills jump off the page at you. Like, does somebody's decision-making look great? Is there deceleration? Is there size? Is there – and Carter Bryant just picked up Cooper Flagg full court and just made it hard for him. Had him, turn it over early while he was dribbling right in front of him, put him in jail a couple times. Like, it is just wild to watch him defend. We'll see about the three-point shot. Missed all 5 of his threes today. That's the swing skill for him, too, for sure, to become that 3-and-D guy. But if he does, then that's an incredible piece to put next to all those other Spurs that we mentioned. Victor Wembanyama was here today, and I'm sure he's like looking at this going, oh, yeah, let's go. Let's get into it this season.
To your point, truly terrifying. He had a play where he was guarding like the point of attack, and then the guy throws a lob. He peels off to knock it out of the air, essentially just guarding both guys simultaneously. Another one where he shuts down Hall and then cheats over to Nembhard, forces an air ball. Like he was guarding 2 guys on multiple different possessions, has everywhere. That OG Anunoby style, like fencer help defense where he can just like shoot his hand in and you don't even know what happened and the ball's out and the Spurs are running the other way. Like him and Wemby together, it is terrifying for the rest of the NBA. I wanted to just quickly shout out David Jones Garcia, second straight fantastic game. That guy is explosive, but simultaneously just very, very composed on the ball, like great handle, a lot of juice, innate sense for just like baiting bigs up in the air, making those Tyrese Halliburton style, like jump pass, like slip under the baskets to a big, smooth getting into his pull-up 3. I think that guy is an NBA player, whether for the Spurs, who obviously have a glut of guards, or someone else. Yeah,
another big 6'6" guard too. So he showed a lot today. That was another one that jumped off the page to me.
Yeah, he's awesome. When we come back, are Jeremiah Fears and Derik Queen ready? You don't have to take it from us. Hear from Jake Madison what he thought on the Pelicans duo coming up next on Locked On NBA Game Night. But first, we want to tell you about our good friends over at Hungry Root. Let's be honest. Meal planning and grocery shopping can be absolutely overwhelming. Between busy schedules, picky eaters, and trying to eat healthy, it's a lot. That's why I love Hungry Root. They take the stress out of planning by filling your cart for you with personalized groceries and meal options based on what you like and need. Hungry Root uses their smart cart technology to recommend groceries, recipes, and even supplements tailored to your preferences. Whether you're dairy-free, gluten-free, focused on gut health, or just trying to eat better, Hungry Root's got you covered. I am, much to my girlfriend's chagrin, a vegan. I like to spend a lot of time like cooking and making healthy meals, but sometimes, like especially when the Knicks go on a nice playoff run, I am simply too busy, and that's where Hungry Root comes in. I just don't have to waste that time at the grocery store. I don't have to stress about what I'm going to make from scratch for dinner. Hungry Root has all that figured out for me already, and it's such a big help in hitting all my nutritional goals. So take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Code LockedOnNBA to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. All right, what's up? We are back here on Locked On NBA Game Night. Gavin Schall, Nick Angstadt breaking down the night in Summer League. We move on from the San Antonio Spurs to a Southwestern rival in the New Orleans Pelicans. But don't take it from us. Hear from Jake Madison on how their 2 rookies performed.
Pelicans fall to the Lakers in their second Summer League game. Better performances, even if the box score doesn't show it, from both Jeremiah Fears and Derik Queen. Fears off shooting night, but got downhill, basically got to the rim whenever he wanted. The finishing will come. We know that's what he's capable of doing. I like the downhill attacking style that he showed. Derik Queen, a little bit quiet in the first half, but really got it going in the second half. Finished with a double-double. Look, there's a lot of pressure on him in Summer League after the trade. The first game was kind of rough with 7 turnovers. They used him a little bit better in this game. I think they're still trying to kind of figure out what his offensive role is going to be. But you saw some of the passing skills, and that's what made the Pelicans so interested in him. Is he a long-term replacement for Zion Williamson, or a guy that could play alongside Zion Williamson? Still remains to be seen. Good performances from Lester Quinones and Antonio Reeves, maybe the two guys fighting for the final spot on this Pelicans roster. We'll see what's next in Game 3 for New Orleans.
Nick, there is a disproportionate amount of pressure on Jeremiah Fears, and in particular, Derik Queen. You heard Jake mention it. They trade away their 2026 first-round pick, unprotected for reasons beyond mine or your or anyone's imagination. In turn, that's a team that should expect to make the playoffs. A lot of depth.
Should
a lot
they?
Of pieces, a lot of interesting play. Sorry. They
hope to expect.
They really want.
Apparently intend to definitely make the playoffs.
That's their intent. That is their intent. Very clearly telegraphed. Given that, what are your thoughts on those two so far in Summer League, and where do you think they ultimately fit in on the Pelicans rotation?
Man, I'm having an issue trying to see how Derik Queen fits in the NBA, because there's a lot about his size, like his size of being able to handle the ball, get rebounds, and all that. And I'm like, all right, you're going to go to another level above this. When you're playing a Mavericks team with Anthony Davis and Derek Lively, or name any West team, they all have like multiple bigs right now. They're going after like what the Mavericks are doing, what the Rockets are doing with Şengün and Adams, and they bring in Clint Capella. Like, so many teams have these bigs now, and I just am wondering how that's going to look against some of those bigs in the West. And then Jeremiah Fears, same thing, but smaller, like smaller as a guard. How is he going to look against bigger, faster athletes, defenders in the NBA? And I'm just not buying either of these guys right now. And they already have some players at their positions too that I'm curious to see how it all shakes up for New Orleans. They need those guys to, one, play, and they also need to be good. And like that, those two things are not going to go together, because they're rookies also, right? Even if they're really good as rookies, they don't contribute to winning that often. Like, it's just a really weird conundrum that they're in. Like, it would take 2 phones from like Joe Dumars for me to like figure out and call enough people to figure out how this is going to work.
Kevin Gates style. I think there's a lot of pressure on Queen in particular. I don't really know how he fits next to Zion, like defensively. That
can't imagine them playing
totally.
Together.
Yeah, it seems untenable to me. But even him and Yves Missi, like you see, like there are times where it looks good, like particularly like when Queen is pushing off his own rebound. Like it is like It could be a disaster, but it is really, really enticing. Like he has a great sense of just manipulating space. Like he had just like a 6 spin move coming up the court, like drew 2, slipped it to Missi, cutting. I think he got fouled on the play. But then there are also times like where he tried to ISO, like to your point, like closer to the level of athlete of what he's going to see in the NBA. And someone like Darius Bazley, who's like an older guy playing the NBA 4 or 5 years, and he doesn't get anywhere, and he just tries like a Dirk fade out of desperation and gets absolutely swatted. He looks like he's in good shape. He's a lot skinnier than he was at Maryland. Like I think you see some of the flashes. You certainly see just an absurd skill level for a guy his size. Again, like I question how it works in year one. And Jeremiah Fears very similar. Like he is as good as anyone in this draft, getting downhill, like elite speed, elite separator. The concerns with him coming out of the draft were like just like a unique or borderline uniquely poor finisher for someone drafted that high, and like not a great 3-point shooter. Didn't have the assist rate to supplement that, like someone like Trae Young did at that size coming out of college. Remember, like he should be a freshman in college this year. Like he skipped his last season of high school. I think it is a stretch to say he'll be ready to play right away. I think unfortunately those two are going to have a lot of pressure on them to do just that.
It's like they both scream development to me, and like the Pelicans' like current state is not ready. Like does not have time for development.
No, I think we're on the same page there, and I don't know how that's all going to end. But we'll
listen to Locked On Pelicans to figure out how it's going to end.
Yeah, that's on Jake. I want to move on to a much happier situation, and that is Yang Hansen. After a sterling performance in Game 1, some real flashes in Game 2. You were watching the tail end of that game as we started performing. What stood out to you in his second game?
Tip dunk at the end of the game to cut it to like 4. The whole crowd was going nuts. But yeah, Hansen Yang, he shows these flashes of a guy that can just do a lot of things, a lot of Jokic-y style things as a big man. 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and had a block. There's the passing skills are just incredible. Like you just see the touch on it. It's going to take him a minute to try and adjust to the NBA size and speed too. I think defensively he's going to struggle there. He got blown by a couple times in this game, but there's just something really fun about him. I love having unique players, and I wish that Derik Queen was in this situation instead, so I could talk about Derik Queen this way instead of talking about him like, oh, he's got to work right now and he's got to be good right now. And yeah, Hansen Young got drafted first round, higher than anybody except for maybe Rafael Barlow thought that they would take him, and there is some pressure on him, but not as much as there would be on a Queen. And so it's a very different situation, but still fun.
Now, it was a weird pick when we did our draft review on Locked On NBA Game Night 2 weeks ago. I think I called him one of my 5 least favorite picks because I didn't get picking him a year after Donovan Clingan, and now I just don't care anymore. I'm like, this guy's too fun. He's too good.
He's complete 180.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the beauty of Summer League, right? Like, I love the Conca pick, and now I'm like, I don't really know. Does he fit? He's going to score 30 points tomorrow, and I'll be like, I always knew that Con was the pick. But just his sense of leverage, like he had a play like very early in the game where he drove on Armando Bacot that like you pull out that Jokic name, and like granted, like of course like you could say Kenneth Lofton has a great sense of leverage, but like at his size, like there is a certain like balletic footwork and just like an understanding how to spin off guys, soft touch, really like fun chemistry with like City Sissoko, like in the 2-man game that led to Sissoko getting a dunk. I loved at one point, like had a pick and roll, didn't get it, but didn't give up on the play, sealed, got it back from the corner, just like pivots in on Bacot, vicious one-handed jam. Like they will have like the biggest centers in the NBA between him and Klingan. Those are just two giants, even by NBA standards. To your point, just very comfortable, like taking 2 dribbles from the top of the key. And my favorite part about this is like, it's just a rare archetype. Like I think of someone like Isaiah Hartenstein, like stretch 5s who can hold their own, protecting the rim, are just one of the most desired player types in the NBA. And he's not that as a shooter, but when you can legitimately orchestrate from the top of the key, you do replicate some of that skill set, right? Because you pull an opposing big away from the rim, and you see, like, obviously works out incredibly well with Jokic, who also is like a 100th percentile shooter for a center. Yeah, but even just the passing version of that, like it opens up so much for the Trailblazers. And it's a very different look than what Klingan will bring for them.
Yeah, it's interesting, and on the Lakers side of this thing, so we already moved past that. We don't want to talk about Bronny and go.
Yeah, so we can real quick. Wolves young core. I thought just another really impressive showing from that group, and I think it's fair to say that Tim Connolly, in terms of like what the Warriors aspired to do with the 2 timelines thing and kind of failed at doing, like outside of Oklahoma City, outside of the Houston Rockets, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are doing it as well as anyone in the NBA. Terrence Shannon Jr., obviously part of the reason he fell were some character concerns and his age, currently older than Anthony Edwards, so that's notable, but he certainly falls for my money in the too good for Summer League category. 24 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 6'6", just looked like too good of an athlete to be out there at times, frankly, like an elite separator in transition. His 3-ball was going today, was shooting it incredibly easily. He feels like a ready-made replacement for Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and you throw in the flashes we've seen from Johan Berenjay. I think Rob Dillingham is the big question mark. Obviously, they gave up a whole lot of draft capital to go and get him, and there's a lot of pressure for him to be the Mike Conley replacement. Like Mike Conley's saying, like, hey, I like in this economy, I thought I was going to be retired 5 years ago. I'm still working. I'm still grinding at 37 years old. They need Rob Dillingham to step up. Certainly showed some nice playmaking tonight. Talented shooter, talented dribbler. It's just if he can hold up at his size. But man, I really like what the Timberwolves have coming down the pike. Not to mention, of course, Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniel, still just 25, 24 years old, respectively.
And Johan Berenger. Some incredible blocks so far in Summer League. He's been one that's people, like you talk about jumping off the page. That has been awesome, seeing his ability at the rim. Like, I don't know what they're doing in France, but the shot blockers coming out of France right now are just insane.
The water's different over there. We're going to finish with some buy and sell. Are the Hornets and Wizards still on track, or is it doomed just like the Pelicans? We'll talk about in just a sec on Locked On NBA Game Night. But first, we want to tell you about our good friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. If you really want to go crazy, you can mix in a same-game parlay. I was at a Yankees game recently for a bachelor party. I was hitting that line all night long. That was my joy. FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. So if you're new to FanDuel, know that new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, what's up, guys? We are back to finish up another thrilling edition of Locked On NBA Game Night with some buy or sell. Nick Angstadt, do you buy the Hornets youth movement? Do you feel like there is a coherent plan in place? Do you feel like their current team fits together?
Those are two different questions, Gavin Schall. Do I buy their young core? I buy some of them. I buy that they have obvious skill. I think LaMelo Ball has been an all-star and has shown to be a skill. He's 24, so he's kind of like just coming out of that young player, like young core era. Brandon Miller, I think, has shown a lot of skills. And then the guys they have here, Con Knipple, has struggled in that first game, didn't play in the second one. His only field goal that he made was a wide-open dunk in transition. Liam McNeely showed a lot of promise in these games, hitting some threes and getting a ton of rebounds. Tajon Salon showed a lot, I think, in these games too. And then Ryan Kalkbrenner had some incredible blocks, 7 blocks over the 2 games. And so, like, they have a bunch of dudes. Like, I just rattled off a bunch of guys that are all young guys. But I don't know if it has a cohesive – I don't know what we're doing with this group here in Charlotte, which is kind of what you do when you're a bad team. You just kind of put together a bunch of talent, see if it works eventually, and then see who, like – leaps off the page. And then, like, with Denver, you had a Jokic that leapt off the page, and you're like, okay, here we go. This is who we're building around. And I don't know that LaMelo has stayed healthy enough to leap off the page like that, and then I don't know who else is going to be the one to make all this make sense.
Yeah, I'm selling it for now. I mean, it's a lot of weight. This is a conversation for another day on LaMelo Ball's shoulders, who vacillates between like the single most exhilarating basketball player you've ever watched and just like kind of like a TikTok basketball player at times. Like you don't totally know what to make of him. I do think he made real strides next year. A lot of pressure on him to stay healthy and just put together a full season of serious basketball. Con Knipple, I think they would have been a lot better off with VJ Edgecombe, just because they need some kind of defensive infrastructure.
They need an intense guy. They need a guy that's just like super intense all the time. And I feel like Edgecombe would have been that one for them.
100%. I do think culturally, I mean, there's a reason I think they took Knipple over Ace Bailey, where it was kind of questionable if he wanted to be there. Like Knipple obviously will be like a culture setter, one of the best shooters in the draft. The initial performance for a guy with legitimate questions about his athleticism. And again, like on that team, a lot of pressure on him defensively. I do think those questions will need to continue to be answered. Liam McNeely, to your point, was amazing in that first game.
And they didn't have the choice to pick Edgecombe. Like, yeah. So it wasn't their fault. They picked who was there. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Haven't seen enough from Con to be out on them yet.
100%. Still a long way to go. Like I think too good, too skilled, too big, too good of a shooter to be anything less than a solid NBA role player. Obviously, just very high expectations with that third pick. So we will see on the Hornets. How about the Washington Wizards? Back when Ryland was going to host this episode tonight, he made the point to me, like, look, that was basically their regular season team out there. They get blown out by the Phoenix Suns, 103-84 in the first game. Are you worried about the Washington Wizards' future after one summer league game?
I am worried about their future, but not after a summer league game. I'm worried about their future just in general. Yeah. I'm worried about their future because they don't have the one guy. That's kind of the same thing as the Hornets. The Hornets do have that one guy, but he's hurt a lot and hasn't played a ton. The Wizards legitimately do not have that one guy to build around. And they had Keyshawn George, Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington, Trey Johnson, Will Riley, AJ Johnson. Like, these are guys that will all play in their rotation next season. And yeah, to get blown out in a summer league game against, I mean, it's hard to like look at this Suns group and be like, oh yeah, like I guess they do have a decent amount of rotation players, but still, you're like, man, to get blown out with your actual rotation that's tough. It's going to be a really hard year for the Wizards, but it's kind of on purpose.
Yeah, I'm selling. I don't really care about one summer league game. I thought Keyshawn George looked awesome on both ends. 24 points, 7 boards, size, shooting, playmaker defensively. Sorry, I mostly liked what I saw from him last year. Obviously didn't have a super impactful first game. Still going to have like massive improvements to justify being the second pick, even in a poor draft. But
should he be here?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Is that a bad sign? Is that a bad sign as the number 2 pick to be back in summer league year next year?
I don't think in the context of what the Wizards are doing, it's a bad time because you just want these guys to get as many reps as possible. I think in a different context with a different player and a different draft, I'd agree with you. I think if he was in this year's draft, he might have been like the 5th or 6th pick and it would be looked at a little bit differently. I will say another encouraging note. I thought Trey Johnson looked awesome. I really liked him coming into the draft, just an incredibly confident movement shooter. And not to take more shots at Con Knipple, but that is like a real strength of Johnson's in contrast to Knipple. Had the play of the day throwing it off Kaman Malawach's ankle, which is just a bit of like insane audacity and tells you just like the kind of maverick he's going to be. There might be a little J.R. Smith to his game, but I don't know if he is the star in that, like he's the number one guy on a good team. I think he can be like the offensive option for them, and I think he's going to be a really good scorer in the NBA from day one. We move on to presidential matters. Fred VanVleet is named the NBPA president, replacing CJ McCollum. Buy or sell? That's a big deal. Fred VanVleet is the new NBA PA president.
Oh, they just did a new CBA, so I don't know. Can I sell that it's a big deal? I don't think it's a big deal, unless Fred has completely different things that he thinks he's going to do than CJ McCollum, and I don't know how much impact CJ McCollum, Grant Williams, and that crew had even on this, because it really just feels like they only just get blamed when things go bad. That's the only time we ever hear about them. And so I don't think it's a big deal. I guess it's great for Fred if that's something he wanted to do, if he campaigned on it. Good for his staff and his campaign manager if he had one. But no, I'm selling. I don't think it's a big deal, especially for like NBA fans. I don't think it's.
Yeah, I think it's only a big deal in the context. The CBA expires 29-30, so I think that would be the last year of his tenure, and presumably he would be involved with negotiating the new one.
Oof.
A lot of complaints about
got 5 years to figure it out, Fred.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciated, like, all right, the test comes after he gets to study for 4 years, so he'll be at his apex as a president, if not.
He's going to college.
Player, Fred, throwing something where teams can keep guys they drafted and not get punished for it. But that is it for this edition of Locked On NBA Game Night. Be sure to check out Nick talking about everything Cooper Flagg on Locked On Mavs. You can check me out over at Locked On Knicks. They play the Celtics tomorrow. Be sure to check out your favorite NBA team. We have a podcast for each and every one wherever you can find podcasts on YouTube, and we'll talk to you soon on Locked On NBA Game Night.